Well, thank you guys for joining us once again for Family Talk, Conversations of the Mind. Yes, as you see, we've been doing different interviews. They're kind of jumbled up depending on which ones you're getting, but we have a special one. Well, they're all special. This one's definitely special because we have the Prince of all saying, my son, Parris Jr. Is that what Jacob calls you?
T Reckless, one of the many nicknames.
Dill calls you T Reckless. Dill and Gerv call you T Reckless. And so it's a special conversation between a father and his son, as you've probably seen in one of the other episodes with my mom and dad. But I wanted to have my son on here. He also wanted to be on here because there was some stuff that we would like to talk about as a young black teenager and as a father of a young black teenager, and how I've raised my son compared to how my father had to raise me, and the things that I learned from my dad that helped me with my relationship with my son, and how he has to deal with me with, all my ailments and the stuff that's always going on with me. He has been my right-hand man because there were times where I didn't even know how to really raise him correctly or how to treat him or love him correctly, because I think I was at a point where I didn't know how to love myself. We'll get into more of that between this and my wife's episode with her. And we are going to have another one with all three of us, the three generations of Parrises. But I would like to introduce you guys to my best friend, Trader Prince.
There's a smooth 5 seconds. That took up the whole square.
Well, it was still counting down, but I wanted to make sure that it popped when you were introduced. Go ahead and introduce yourself and tell them where they can find you. I'm going to put it up in the joints. Might as well go ahead and shout out your social media. You're not like Tati. You got a social media follow.
Ain't nothing special. It was just my own thing. Trader Prince on Instagram, Prince Trey on TikTok, nothing special. Use Snapchat no more.
Why do you always say nothing special? We always tell you that everything, you're not supposed to downplay anything that you do.
This is a humble good guy complex, I guess.
You can be humble when you need to be humble. Things that you've created and done for yourself, you're supposed to be proud of, and you're supposed to be able to speak on it without feeling like you're doing too much. Shouting out the things that you've created and the stuff that you've done is something that you're supposed to be proud of. And if somebody's asking you or saying, hey, you did this? Yeah, I did do that. Not like, oh, it's nothing. It's something. A lot of people that are your age and otherwise are not doing anything. We know in our family that are your age that aren't doing things that they're supposed to be. So the things that you are doing should be celebrated.
I really just don't. Because I always have like a set idea of what I'm trying to do. So if it's not like up to that set idea, then I just don't see it as much. Instagram, I don't really post like that for much of any reason. If I find something funny, I'll just throw it up there just for whatever's sake. I'm not trying to, there's nothing I'm not trying to get popular. It's just not. The same for TikTok. It just goes up there. No reason for it.
Okay. I understand that. For me, that's what the family gaming is when we get ready to get into that. That's why a lot of people are like, why are you not doing this? Or why are you not pushing this and that? Well, it really wasn't for that. It was really just for me and you and what we were going through at the time and what I wanted for you, what I saw you doing, and the time we got to spend together doing that. So when everybody's like, oh, it should be doing more. No, it did exactly what I wanted it to do and then some. So for me, it's fine how we move it as a family as opposed to trying to make it do anything more than that. All right. Just like your sister, Nani and Poppy, I have some questions that I put together that I want to ask you, and I just want you to answer them as honestly as you can. And if you have any questions that you would like to ask me, then you can go ahead and ask me.
Okay.
This is our time until somebody interrupts it.
Went for it.
We're going to talk about your academics because you're super smart. Everybody knows that. What subjects have you enjoyed the most in high school and why? And how do you stay motivated to maintain your good grades?
I want to say it changed throughout the year. At first, I thought math was really cool. Not like so much as like a nerd thing or I was really good at it. I just really liked the challenge and getting over it. But that only lasted up to the point before we got letters. Like when we started doing numbers with X, Y, or any other thing, cosines, and any other thing that involved a letter, past X, it wasn't my favorite no more. Then up to like a little bit of freshman year, probably because I like the teacher and what we did, like environmental science. I like science for a good half of my high school year.
Okay.
As of now, not that any of my classes are bad, especially as a senior, all my teachers are very good people. Not that any of my classes are bad. I'm more focused on any of the stuff that wasn't academics. Because if it wasn't academics, like I really like my weight training classes.
Okay.
Not that like that's social hour or anything, but like it's actually beneficial to me now. There's cooking class. I like baking. Not that I'm very confident in it, but that is like a good way to go over there and practice. Plus, I mean, a lot of people over there, they have a lot of good recipes and their own little thing they do. You know, obnoxious or as aggressive as they are really great spirited people who I still talk to this day. I might talk to one of them yesterday.
Okay.
Might have been trash talk.
But you still talk to him?
Yeah.
Okay. Because you're the oldest in the family, like I was, like your mother is, it's like a leadership position. So as the oldest sibling and cousin, do you feel a sense of responsibility for setting an example? And how do you balance that role with your own personal?
Especially since most of them aren't, not that they're not close or like emotionally, they're a good drive away from us. I don't really feel the responsibility. And even when I get there, I don't feel the responsibility. I just feel it as in something I should do, just as like a natural thing. Most of the time, especially like, because I talked about this with mom recently. When we go over to our family, I was just about to say location. When we go over to our family and we spend time at their house, when it's just us cousins, we normally just do whatever. You know, they all like music, so we'll put something on. If we all know it, we'll sing. It'll be one big straw hat pirate mess, some just goofy and etc. like that. Nothing I feel responsibility, and it's not hard to balance with my personal life because most of it is really just me continuing to act the way I am. You know, people pleaser. I just, you know, go over there, wall laugh for a bit. Sometimes I won't feel bothered to do anything, and they'll just be happy around just to like sit by, and then we'll just be in each other's presence, even if it's in silence.
Okay. You say people pleaser.
I knew you was gonna catch that.
Yeah. Are you, because I always tell you about that. Do you ever feel like being a people pleaser is going to end up costing you something, either in the end or your own self-respect, because you're always wanting to please other people as opposed to what makes you feel good, or what that could entail for somebody who always wants to be a people?
I've got that from a lot of people that I know of. If not the aspect of like you're too nice or them wanting me like to say no more, it's not that I guess I could say I don't believe in that'll ever have an effect. Just because I like to think I manage it very well. You know, if I can do it or it's like an easy thing I can make, yeah, I mean that's whatever. So yeah, let's do it. If not, or I'm just too tired to make you happy or put up with you, then I'll say it outright. And if you get upset, I might be bringing like the last 2 times. And I'll just leave it at that, and we'll talk about it later or whenever I do get the energy. But I don't really feel attacked from it or anything.
Okay. So we know this is your senior year. What are your thoughts on what you want to pursue after high school? Do you feel like you're prepared for the next step, whether it's college or the military, or are you still trying to figure that out?
I don't really care whether I'm prepared or not. I'm still trying to figure out if I'm going to do some Air Force on top of my college rather than do college and then Air Force after, or vice versa. I know both of them are going to take I know military is going to be like 2 years on its own or 4.
Yeah, 2, maybe 3, 2 or 3 years. I know you got to sign up for at least 2.
Okay, so let's assume like 2 years for that and then another 2 years for college. So I don't want to do them separate. That's my least probative choice. I'm sure I used that wrong. I just don't want to. I definitely don't want to hold either of them, but I know it's going to be hard to do both of them. So well, I
think your mom did it, but I think after like the 2 years, if you're going to re-enlist, then you can re-enlist and say you need, not a break, but you need, like special circumstances where you can also go to college in the military, because that's what your mother did.
That's what I thought. I know that was like a special thing that I have to like meet conditions for. But if I can do that, preferably that's what I could do. But I also
working, and then you're taking like night classes.
Yeah, but I also want to do like I definitely want a dorm life, and most of it I'm not. College is for academic purposes is that's cool for its own reason. I'm mostly just doing it just don't sound childish. Mostly just to do the cliche. You know, I want to go over there to socialize, do most stuff I don't have much of that confidence to do stuff I normally don't do. And the academic thing is going to be its own thing. But as long as I get the academic benefits from the end, then I'll still do the work in between for that.
Yeah, it's everybody, I think, when they're getting ready to go to college or chooses that path, they want to experience what that home life is. But the same thing for the military. When you're in the military, like basic training and AIT, you'll get that same college type dorm life because you're staying in the barracks. where everybody's at. So all the parties are in the barracks. Those people don't have cars generally when they first getting in, like AIT, the basic training to AIT, they don't have cars. So everybody's always like doing dorm parties or barracks parties or traveling together in taxi cabs and stuff because everybody's separated from the family. So then you start to build that bond with the unit. And generally, those people that are in your unit might be going to the same duty station that you're going to go to afterwards. So you'll still see them. It's like school in a sense, but it's just the military. Everything's a lot rougher and tougher as opposed to just college. Okay. Family dynamics. How does being the oldest in such a large family shape your perspective on family responsibility and relationships?
Again, I don't really, maybe just me being carefree. I don't take it as seriously as a dynamic or nothing like that, right? It's just something that happens. Again, I just do whatever I just feel right. I do see the way that they're like, not that the way they're inspired to me, but the way they'll come to me for like, I'm not gonna say they like admit their problems to me all the time. They do, and I act a brat sometimes. I used to ignore them, but like especially after stepping into high school, I'll hear them out. It's mostly just like me being a big brother for anyone else that's younger than me. So I can't see much of a difference. We don't have a dynamic. We'll treat each other equally as if we were strangers in school, but we'll both know, hey, that's my older cousin. If you need some, I can do that. And I do try to put myself off as that. Like, if something were to happen, they could confidently say, I'm sure my older cousin could do something like that. Or, hey, cousin, can you pick that up? I want to be reliable for them.
Okay. That's an older sibling and an older cousin type feeling. So, yeah, I get that. I think you get a lot of that. Why it comes naturally for you is because me and mommy are both the oldest for our family. So we know the struggles that mommy goes through and being the oldest, and we know the struggles that I go through being the oldest. So I think we've instilled that in you automatically because we're both the oldest. So once you were born, that was just something like, hey, this is something you got to be prepared for because it's just something that you're gifted when you're the oldest. It's a hard burden. And Nani, she's the oldest also. Grandpa is not the oldest. He's the oldest in a set of a bunch of kids. But Nani's the oldest. Only her and Uncle Barry. Rhonda's the oldest. I'm the oldest. So we have that experience that we automatically instilled in you early. So for you, it's just natural. That's probably why you don't never really pay attention to it and you just do it naturally.
That is another thing I do find funny. Whenever we go over there and I'll see you interact with auntie and uncle, I do find it funny whenever I see like hug and say, all right, thank you, big bro, or something simple like that. Because I do be forgetting that y'all are siblings sometimes. Not only do y'all act so different when we go over there, but the smallest act, I forget that they're not just like a family extension. They're directly rooted to you or mom, and the way they interact. I could see the similarities and differences. I just find funny that I always forget about.
I do. For me, it was watching, which might be what you're meaning or how you're saying. My dad has always just been dad. Like there's no, he's my friend, he's my best friend, but he's just dad. The only time I ever see him not be dad is when I see him around Uncle Teddy, because that's his older brother. So I see dad switch from having to really take charge of everything to he just kind of leans back and let Uncle Teddy run the show. I don't see that out of my dad often unless he's visiting his older brother. The other time is when grandpa moved down to live with us. I don't never see my dad be a child ever until grandpa lived with us and we was always swimming in the pool and doing all those kind of fun things. Then it was like, oh, look how my dad acts like a little kid when he's around his dad. That's almost mind-boggling because I don't never see that. So maybe it feels like that. I know it was always magical when I see my dad be the little brother as opposed to dad. And then when I saw him be a child when he was around his mom or his dad, I was like, oh, dad, he's a superhero, but he's really just a kid until both of them passed away. So then dad is like, now he's just back to be dad, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm more compared it to like you treating other adults as such equal standing rather than a passive, okay, hi, let's continue walking.
Okay, all right. Mentorship challenges. I want to go to the challenges. What's the biggest challenge you faced during your high school, and were you able to overcome it?
The entire high school?
Yeah. What was like the biggest thing that happened to you that you had to overcome, and how'd you?
If you ask me now, I would say this year I don't really have an issue, but from freshman to now, I'm going to say I really had a problem with one. I always felt like I always felt like this is weird to say. I always felt like I was lonely or I was by myself in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was never confident enough to make a phone call to anybody else if I wanted to bother them, or if I was willing to go to parties or set events up. I was never confident enough to do that.
Okay.
It was also the sense of this is hard. This is hard to word. I had a very like childlike attitude, and I can admit, yes, as of then I was annoying, and I know this specific reason. Okay, so I remember distinctly. I'm sure you remember this story. There was a time within my freshman year of my class. Granted, yes, I was one of the weird kids because I mean I was a little annoying. I can admit that now. I was annoying.
That doesn't mean you're weird.
I mean, I was by myself in the back of the class. You know, I would do like random stuff just in the hope that someone would say it. Yes, I can say I was annoying.
Okay.
So there was one person I distinctly didn't like, just for not even for my own personal reason. Not most of the class liked her, but I didn't like her because she always had like an attitude. Like, you don't watch the show, but I'm sure anybody else would notice. Like Piper from Henry Danger, she's a lot like that. You know what that is. So there was a time she stepped out of class, and out of just to be a little petty, I like closed the blinds on like the windowsill of the class. That was nothing special. It was just, and I can't see. So I walked back and I reached in my book bag, and out of speculation or whatever the reason was at the moment, everybody jumped up from their seats and said, "Well, what you doing?" I said, "I'm just reaching for a pencil. Now we got to get the work started in math." So the most charismatic in the class walked over and he reached his arm my back. He reached his arm my back. He said, "Can I look through it?" And I said, if everyone's on edge and he's a very charismatic person, if he looks through it, everyone else is gonna calm down. So I see no reason he can't do it. I ain't got nothing dangerous in there aside from a normally large pair of scissors.
But why? Only because I'm an adult now, but I'm thinking because I always had an attitude even when I was younger. Why not just say, no, you can't go through my bag? Like, what was it that allowed you to be like, yeah, you can go look at my bag for whatever the reason is?
I didn't care as long as I didn't see it, as long as I could know if he took something out of it. Oh, even then I didn't have nothing of value. He wasn't gonna take my school laptop.
Okay.
Or a notebook. So if he went in there, nothing bad would happen. So no consequence. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
He looked in there, he didn't find nothing. He looked over and goes, all right, it was all right. Now he made a joke out of it. A lot of people, especially like the fake ratchet, we have a lot of fake ratchet people in our school.
Fake ratchet. Okay.
They all jumped up. Three of them, I feel like I should know they were black. 3 of them just got up and walked out the class. I looked at our teacher. Our teacher was like the third replacement of a teacher, so she didn't have either much backbone or much authority in the class.
Okay.
So when they walked out, she couldn't really like yell at them to stop them. The best she could do was get a referral and wait for them to show up the next day. So I paid it no mind. I went back to work. As I was continuing with my work, they came back with an administrator. An administrator apparently was told there was a school shooter or someone with like suspicious items in pack. So he looked around the class. He picked out, I can't say half the class, like 33% of us. He picked out a buggle of people, accidentally me, which was one of them. And when we walked out, I don't know if anybody else noticed this. When we walked out, they had a set formation. They had a police officer on one side, preferably to keep us to the wall when we were down the stairs. 1 police officer to the side, and 2 well-known administrators in the front and back. So as I walk in, I've noticed I'm in like a very good formation, and this is probably when I was reaching in my book bag, you know, everyone speculating me. Now, whether it was supposed to be a joke or actual fear, I thought I'd just go along with it. No consequence, nothing bad could happen. I continue walking. I figured if I made it there earlier, that would like plead my case somehow or make me look better. So I naturally walk fast. So I like purposely walk fast just to like get to the class. I opened up, maybe it was so 420 something. Opened it up. It just so happened to be the wrong door. And when I look back, I'm apparently left with the group in the dust. So I opened the door, opened the hallway, look both ways. I must have lost everybody. So I said, okay, so if this is one administrative building for 400, there might be at 600 because that's the other one I know about. Walked over there, opened the door. Sure enough, everybody is over there. And now I just look more suspicious because I was late. I broke out of a planned formation and I'm the main suspect. So as soon as I get over there and I'm out of breath for all this.
Why do you feel like you are the main suspect?
Because already
they moved a bunch of y'all out of the classroom.
They moved a bunch of us, but already everyone was sitting there writing witness statements. And since most of the case was determined for me, when everyone else would jump for the class, they already have my name. And when they looked over and said, "Wait, where'd Parris go? He was in the formation with us." You know, that only just makes it look worse. So when I opened the door and I'm out of breath so I could catch up and everyone else is already sitting there with a witness statement in hand, the best I could do was take a step, find somewhere to sit. I couldn't sit nowhere. Walked in there, find somewhere to sit. Everyone's already nervous, staring at me. I look at the one administrator who normally sits there to look after. She looked at me and said, "Oh, who are you?" I'm Parris. And her eyes widened and said, "Oh, it was you." Before I could even reply to whatever that meant, I keep saying administrator. Some other higher administrator, he called me in his room. And when I walked in his room, he was accompanied by 2 police officers. They said, "Hey, nice to meet you. Can you please sit down and can I check your bag?" Again, no consequence aside from like a normally big pair of scissors. I put my bag down. The police go through it. They pat me down. They ask me a few questions. And
you're under the age of 18, but nobody has called us at all.
No, that did not happen.
Okay, go ahead.
Was that supposed to happen?
Yeah. A black family will tell you that, especially when you're underage, all the stuff is going on
until I hit the bus back again, and I was texting y'all about it. You might get a phone call.
Right. I think it was after that, but you were already coming home from school. We're like, wait, what? All right, go ahead though.
Oh, after talking to them for a bit, asking why do they suspect you? Why do they refer to you as the gun? That was a whole joke on its own. Why do they refer to you as the gun? That I explained that, and that caught him off guard for a bit. I said, "Sorry." And I showed him my school ID. He said, "Sure enough." What that? Yes, I explained it to them. They said, "Sure enough." They passed the note back around. I continued talking. After a little bit, it got more, might have been my fault, but it got more lighthearted and we started joking around. Even to this day, I'll still pass by them 2 cops and we'll like high five or something. So yeah, they're not my friends. So that happened. Just befriended 2 of the officers that was looking over me. And then they said, "I'm sorry because of protocol, I gotta walk you back to your bus. I ain't paying no mind." I said, "No, if you say so, let's go." So I just followed behind, walked to the bus. We waved. I hit the bus. And then when the bus said, yo, Gun, why you get escorted by 2 police?" And I said, it was his own little thing. I was more worried about whatever they would say to you, however you 2 would react when I got there. So I went ahead, I sat down on the bus. I said, you know what? I definitely can't call and explain it over the phone. So I just texted, "Hey, y'all gonna get a phone call. Please answer it whenever y'all do it." And that.
Yeah, I remember because me and your mother were calling back and forth to the school, find out why they did that. Why did they search you? Why did they didn't contact us? And then they just like let it go. After that, it was like that was it. But you paraded my son around school like a criminal. Y'all did all of this stuff. Y'all.
It's a good time to know I can hear this in the whatchamacallit. So if this plays when you doing the whatchamacallit, I heard a ringtone in the headphones. So either it's from your phone or it's from your iPad having the same ringtone. So if
well, listen, we're doing this podcast brand new. We don't got all the technology of everything working just yet. Got the music playing. I ain't realized all the stuff was connected, intertwined.
It isn't. Don't put this on YouTube because I go in there and I put a timestamp. I just put a timestamp 412. Your girlfriend. It says on your cellular device.
Now listen, it is what it is.
Put a few emojis in there.
This is how the episodes are going until we become professionals. This is us at the ground floor, like I've been telling everybody else. Yeah, me and Mom had a lot of conversations with the principals and the this and that, trying to figure out why this stuff was happening. And then it felt like the school was trying to ostracize you because weren't they trying to change your classroom and all kind of stuff too?
They wasn't trying to. The next day I walked over there because they didn't tell me nothing would happen over there or they would call me over. I just walked to my next class like nothing, and then the same 3 ratchet girls plus 2 other people, they just got up and left the class again. And then another administrator came back again and said, "Hey, can I borrow you for a bit?" This time was no information. They just took me and they said, "Hey, why came back?" Words. "Why you came back to the class?" I said, "Cause I figured something happened. Not only did I not get called, I tried to check Skyward just to make sure, I wasn't in no problem. And I was still in the same class, so it was whatever's." Okay. So short enough, they moved me. I was in the new 6th period class with a whole new group of students. They even had to introduce me to the teacher. He had to give me his own little rundown. As long as it don't cause no problems, we'll be fine. And he's like, "All right."
How did that make you feel, knowing that you have been a good kid, straight A's, ROTC, you're a good student, never been in trouble, really, and now they're trying to put this might be school threat tag on you after being good and not getting in any trouble all this time? Now they're trying to pin this little stereotype on you, and you have to move through school with that. What did that feel like?
So moving through school with the name, not many people knew of the internet if they were in that class. It wasn't really like a loud thing. So it wasn't much I had to worry about or repeat. If anything, I got a funny story out of it in the long run. The short, very moment of it, I felt very betrayed because I knew people in that class, and I'm not gonna say we were close friends or anything, but I figured they knew me well enough to say something or speak up when everything happened. Especially when I went back to the class, the people left, and I still got called out, and I never came back to that class. I never saw those people again. Everyone in that class, and not one person, at least especially when the people came over, or at least in the witness statements, nothing I heard of. I have not heard anybody speak up or say nothing.
Like he's a regular kid, or he's annoying, but that's not him. Anybody to say anything on your behalf.
Right. I'm sure you forgot about this, but I know if I'll say it, someone in there is gonna remember. There was like a scene in the Lego movie where they was talking about. This is sound corny when I say it out loud. There was a scene in the Lego movie where the main character Emmett was getting interrogated by some good cop, bad cop, and he said, "We asked other people, your friends." He played a video, and there was like a back and forth. He said, "Yeah, he's nothing special," but it like got a little more depressing. It's like, "Yeah, he's nothing special." He's like, because we all have something special. He's just there, nothing distinct about him. Think about it now, it sounded a little like that, but like more like nobody would speak up for it because no reason to defend him. 2, he was kind of annoying, good riddance. 3, I got no other reason.
Okay, all right, that was, and I shared my story with you when that happened, and I'll share it with our listeners and our viewers. When I was in school, there was a girl that was kicking my seat. And at that point in time, we had one table, desk, chair, then another table behind you and the chair. She was reaching under the chair to kick my thing. I don't know for what reason. Maybe I was being aggravated. Maybe we were joking around, whatever the case may be. But one of the times she kicked the chair, I caught her foot on the chair. I had like her feet. And when she went to go pull her leg back, she couldn't pull it back. Boop. So I ended up having her shoe. She was like, "Give me my shoe." I just threw the shoe down. I didn't pay no attention. Some few moments went by. Then she went up and said something to our science teacher. And then she left the class. I'm not paying no attention. We doing whatever we do in the science class. And then I get a call over the radio or the teacher send Parris to the front office. So I'm like, oh. I figure because I'm a bad kid, I'm always in trouble for something. This must be something that I finally got caught for. And they're bringing me to the office to now do whatever the discipline. Oh, Parris is supposed to be up here. All right,
cool. And what would it have been at the time?
Skipping class, talking too much, being a disruptive, anything that probably popped up, and that's where it's going out. All right. Well, now I'm going to the office. When I get to the office, my counselor is there for my aid, for my grade, and it's a police officer. I sit down. Counselor said, you should have never did that. It was something like that. And I was like, I still haven't realized what it is. But then the police officer said, "So you touched that girl?" And I was like, "Yeah." She kept kicking my chair. And then he placed me under arrest. I was in middle school, read me my rights and everything. So they were calling my mother, who worked for the school, to come down because I'm underage. I'm under the age of 18 for sure. Mom came down there. She says, "Okay, we're just going to take a lie detector test. We're going to get this over with right now." Bunch of other stuff ensued because Mom was upset that they raped me my rights. They put me under arrest. They didn't ask no questions and none of the other stuff. But when the girl's mother found out that my mom requested us to do a lie detector test because I had to write my statement, all that kind of stuff, the mother of the child didn't want to do the lie detector test. But I remember for the rest of that year, I walked around with that scar on my name that, oh, I just touched this girl. We're sitting in the seats. And even the teacher said, I saw them messing around because I was moving in my chair and he saw the girl kicking me. But the logic of how much space was in between our desk and the other person, I'm not Stretch Armstrong. I can't reach all the way back there to touch her. It's just a foot. I never got out my seat. So even when he was telling me, he's like, so how did he touch her where she's saying if they're not, it was a whole thing. But I remember getting on the bus and then coming home, telling my mom and dad. Mom already knew, was telling dad about it. And my grandmother found out. She had some very choice words, but she taught me something at that point in time that I've always lived with till now. Like I told you, I told my grandmother, and that was the end of that. But when I got back to school, the look and the feel, like, yeah, I'm a jokester and I get in trouble here and there, but like, that's really what you call it. And people who are sitting in the class with us, like next to us and laughing and joking and stuff, know me. She made up this what you call it. And now that I'm thinking about it, I don't remember her coming back like the next year. I don't remember seeing her, but I remember they moved me out of that class, which I liked that class because I had a lot of friends that were just sitting at other tables that were in class with me. So now I'm, like you said, in another classroom for another period. But in my head, I was like, I don't want to switch classes because if I switch classes, it looks like I'm guilty. Put me back in the same class I was in. I ain't do nothing wrong. That's not how school works, as we know. That's why I was so adamant with you about making sure you stood your ground and we take care of what we need to take care of, because I remember when that was me. And so when it happened to you, it really hurt because it brought back those memories of feeling like that. But mom and dad and grandma was right there. And I told you then, when me and mommy was talking about it, like, oh, we're not gonna let this just slide out. They're not gonna get away with this. And you're way better than I was in school. You ain't in the office for nothing unless you doing stuff purposely to be up there for whatever it is. So there's no reason why they went all the way left. But as we know now, there have been school shootings and all kind of stuff happening. Everything is a protocol. Everything's a protocol. But when it's a protocol and you're wrong, when do you come back and say sorry? When do you tell the child that the stuff that you did was not personal? It was because these are the rules and this is what we have to go by. And we're sorry that we had to do it this way to you. Where's that? That gives the child a sense of, oh, okay, like at my school when that stuff happened, nobody said we're sorry. Nobody did any more. Once they found out that it was wrong, nobody said, oh my gosh, we need to do something to the girl because of all the commotion that she caused. Nobody said it. They was just like, oh, okay, we're going to put you in another class. Y'all had me in handcuffs. Y'all had my mom come down here. You had all of this hooping and hula. Now when we're saying, this is what happened, and other people are writing their statements and you can't figure it out. And then the girl decides she wants to change her mind and the mom wants to change her mind. Now everybody's just going to walk away. But y'all already put the stamp on me. So I understood that. It was those that week that me and mom was dealing with that and calling back and forth to the school. It was a hard week for us because I had to relive that pain again through you. And it was a very good eye opener. And that's why we started talking to you about certain things to make you better acquainted with how the police move and how to deal with those things from now on. It's a good time.
I do got it, Dylan.
What?
I do got one little sidebar question. What was your initial reaction when you got the text from when I said you might get a phone call and when you got the call? Because I remember you were with someone at the time. I think it was Uncle Wally.
Not sure.
I remember you were with someone because you introduced me to someone when I got home. It was someone from mom's side.
Maybe it might have been your Uncle Wally there. Truthfully, I don't really worry too much when I get the messages ahead of time. Like, hey, you might be getting a phone call or something bad happened. When it was me, my parents was like, this could be 1,000 things. For you, I remember the phase where you were tired of getting bullied. And I was like, listen, this is what we're going to start doing. And then you was getting into fights. And he was like, hey, there might be a phone call. There might be I didn't worry about that because I know you're not going looking for trouble. But when I finally decided to tell you, all right, listen, trouble starts finding you, you start knocking trouble down. Then when you started doing the phone calls then, like, yeah, they're going to be a call. I'm like, yeah, somebody picked on him. And now Parris is fighting back. So they're calling to And then when they called, I was like, listen, he been getting bullied for a while. I told y'all to start monitoring or doing whatever the stuff is because of this, that, and the other thing. Nobody want to listen to me. Okay. My son is going, every time somebody puts their hand on him, pushes him, think it's funny, goes to pick on him, whatever, he's knocking people out. And I'll just pick him up from school. But he's not going to get in trouble for defending himself because y'all administrators are not doing the job y'all supposed to be doing. So when phone calls are coming in from you, I don't really generally worry about it because I know they're not things that you're doing on purpose. You're either standing up for yourselves, even if your grades are slipping and they're calling to say that your grades are low or whatever the case may be. I know that there's something going on besides that's causing that to happen. So I just get it locked in my brain like, okay, he's going through something or something's happening, but not when I was going out. When people were calling my parents, it's because I was doing it. I was doing the most. I was acting up. But when you or your sister, those phone calls are coming in, I know something's happening and y'all had to stand on business and I'm just needing to hear what it is. But y'all don't never lie. So I know that whatever's going on, the teacher, principal could tell me what it is and then y'all can fill me in the gaps. And then if you were still out of pocket, I'll tell you, like, you shouldn't have been talking back to the teacher. You should have just did this, that, and the other thing. This was your fault that this went too far or whatever the case may be. I still correct y'all, but I also see wherein if you're doing something and you're asking teachers for help, asking administration for help, and nobody's helping y'all, and y'all have to take care of it yourself, then yeah, they're going to call me. And I'm going to say, okay, I'll pick him up. We're just going on vacation while he's in trouble. But that doesn't really happen. Y'all don't get in trouble like that. So I don't really worry about it too much. I just wonder what got y'all to that place to be angry kids, or who pushed y'all to have to get into a fight. Like, I know it had to be serious for y'all to get into trouble like that, because y'all are not those type of kids.
What more like to the point where like you heard you were gonna get a call, and when you actually got it, like when you went with mom and Uncle Wes, when you actually got the call, what'd you think?
I knew that something had happened. I knew something happened that was bad for them to say they had to secure your bag and check your stuff because they said you had a gun. I knew that whatever had happened, it must have been like shit didn't hit the fan. For them to even assume that he has a gun in school and he made a school threat, I was like, there's no way. I knew it was something because we were just baffled. First of all, he doesn't have that in him, your spirit, your continent. You don't have that in you. So what would make them assume that somebody had to say something, take it out of context, or put him in a position where, but for him to be that
the music changed.
I was hoping it was going to stop. We're definitely going to have to find a different place to do the podcast. This is where we're starting off right now until we actually official place where we could do a podcast where it's quiet and reserved. But this is what we got. We had the ground floor starting. But yeah, I knew it was BS. We just needed to figure out what the story was. Tiki Man comes home, we just gonna let him tell us the whole story because there's no way this is the story.
Because all I could do as of now, especially like some of my son's best, all I could do was sit here and think about how like funny it must have been for you to like catch up on the phone and say, yeah, you got a better grade or something, and then you would just not on speaker, and then you just mom face got worse and worse, and then I said, what happened?
Yeah, and so then I just put on speakerphone for in here. We was like, that's crazy. That's not what happened. Y'all are only giving us your when Tiki Man comes home, just sit him down, start the whole story from scratch so we can figure out where it was. And it was just people just trying to pick. And they just happened to catch you at a vulnerable time, and things went together that wasn't supposed to go together. They just put it together. You closing the blinds is you closing the blinds on the girl so she can't get back in the classroom. That's y'all being kids and joking around. When she realized that's what happened, and then she switched it up and tried to make it seem that it was more than that's just things that got put together to make a whole scene. And they're like, well, he was going to his bag and they said something about a gun. He didn't say nothing about a gun. His name is Gun. But he closed the blinds and then he locked the door. He didn't lock the door. The door was still unlocked. She just didn't come back to the door because the blinds were closed. Well, the other people left the classroom. They left the classroom because they were already ratchets and they was doing the most with the substitute teacher. So they were already acting out. So one person left. They just got up and left. They put a whole bunch of things that had nothing to do together to make one, But you pick the kid that's a straight A student, principal's list, in the ROTC, that's doing all this great stuff that never gets in trouble because people trying to figure out who he is. Y'all should have did that to one of the crazy kids. That might have worked better. But even then, they put a bunch of stuff together, and that was really painful for me and mom to watch, and it was painful to watch you have to go through it as a young kid then. That's when we had to really tell you about how the police move and all that other stuff, so you're more informed and better aware the next time something like that could happen.
I remember the last time you said something like that is when I fully opened the door. You said, from now on, I got to start doing the New York way. When I open up, but I only like let a little peek out rather than just opening the door fully.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's it.